Good morning, students. So, in the previous week, we have started this chapter, our second chapter of physics, that is measurement. Okay, so far we have discussed few topics. Okay, so we have discussed what is density, then we have discussed how to measure the density of the irregular solid by displacement method. In that, we have discussed two methods, that is one was the measuring cylinder and another one was the measuring cylinder and Eureka cane. Then we have discussed this topic, relative density, and the how to measure the relative density of a liquid by using the density bottle. In the today's video we will discuss about what is flotation, what is sinking, then we will see the conditions which will be applicable in order to know that the body will float or sink in the respective liquid, and at the last we will discuss some applications of the flotations. Okay, so let's start our discussion for today's. Okay, so first of all, floating and sinking. So floating means whenever you put a body in the on the surface of the liquid, it will either float on the surface, or it will either float just below the surface, or it will completely sink. Now the conditions which govern this floating and sinking are, so first, the sinking. So when the object is placed over a liquid of density lesser than the density of an object, the object sinks. For example, if you put an iron nail on the surface of the water, since the density of iron is 7.8 times more than the density of the water, so iron nail is definitely going to sink. Next is floating, and condition which is responsible for the floating of substances when the liquid of density higher than the density of the object, when the object is placed over the liquid having the higher density than the density of the object, in that case the object is going to float. For example, if you put a ball of plastic on the surface of the water, it is going to float. That you must have noticed. Why? Because the density of that plastic ball is much less than the density of the water. That is, these conditions governs whether the object is going to float or whether the object is going to sink. So like I have told you, iron ball with a density of 7.86 gram per centimeter cube is going to sink in the water. Whereas if you put the same iron ball on the surface of the mercury is a liquid metal. So density of mercury is around 13.6 gram per centimeter cube. So in that case, iron ball is going to float on the surface of the mercury. Then if you put a small cork on the surface of the water, so because the density of cork is much less than the density of the water, that cork is going to float on the surface of the water. Whereas if you put the iron nail on the surface of the water, due to the higher density of the iron nail, it is going to sink in the water. Okay, so let's discuss principle of flotation. Before that, what is buoyant force? So whenever the object is placed on the surface of the liquid, or either it is completely submerged or partly submerged, in that case a upward force is always acts on the surface of the body, and that upward force is known as the buoyant force, and that phenomena due to which this liquid exert an upward force on an object, that phenomena is known as the buoyancy. Okay, so you must have noticed this phenomena whenever you put your hand on the surface of the water and you try to dip your hand in the water, then you feel a force which is acting in the upward direction on your hand. So that force now is known as the buoyant force. That buoyant force is also known by one more name, that is known as upthrust, that you already knew. Upthrust is the upward force, or this is the force acting perpendicular on the surface of the body whenever you apply a force. Now, when the body is immersed in liquid, two forces are going to act on it. First is the weight of the body, and it acts vertically downwards. Okay, every time weight of the body acts vertically downwards, then second force that acts on the body is the upthrust or buoyant force, and it will be the upward force. Now based upon the values of these two forces, we will decide whether the body is going to float or whether the body is going to sink in the respective liquid. Okay, so you can see in this figure that the weight of the body is acting downwards and this upward force is acting upwards. In that case, the apparent weight of the body will be W1 minus W2. Now, sinking and flotation of the body depends upon the following condition. First condition that we will discuss is when the W1 is greater than W2. Then what is W1? W1 is the weight of the body and W2 was the buoyant force. In that case, when the weight of the body is much more than the buoyant force, so the body is going to sink and the weight of the body will be calculated as W1 minus W2. This condition occurs when density of the immersed body is greater than the density of the liquid. So in that case, the body is going to submerge or body is going to sink. Like you can see in this figure, the stone is sink in the surface of the water due to its higher density. Second condition that we will discuss, when the weight of the body as well as the buoyant force both are equal to each other. In that case, body will float under the surface and the weight of the body will be 0, like this. Now this condition occurs when the density of immersed body is equal to the density of the liquid. Like you can, in the third condition, when the weight of the body is less than the buoyant force. In that case, body will be in the floating condition with some volume above the liquid. For example, you can see then in this photo a tennis ball is there whose density is less than the density of the water. So that is why it is floating in the liquid with some surface, some volume above the liquid. This condition occurs when the density of the body is less than the density of the liquid. So these are the three conditions which govern the sinking or floating of the body. Now let's discuss few applications of principle of flotation, as it is a very important phenomena. So their applications are, first is hydrometer. So hydrometer basically is an instrument which is used to measure the specific gravity or relative density of the liquid. And what was the relative density of the liquid? Relative density was actually the ratio of the liquid to the density of the liquid to the density of the water. Now, how an hydrometer works? So it basically based on the Archimedes principle, such that a solid suspended in fluid will be buoyed up by a force equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the submerged part of the suspended solid. So like we have calculated the density of the irregular object, and on what basis we were calculating? We were calculating on the basis that whatever the volume of the fluid will be displaced, that volume will be equal to the volume of the stone. So it was said that the force which is acting on the body in the upward direction, that force is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the submerged part of the suspended solid. Thus, the lower the density of the substance, the farther the hydrometer will sink. Now, so this is a typical hydrometer. You can see it is the stem on which graduations are marked, which gives you the reading of the specific gravity of the liquid whose specific gravity is to be measured. This is the liquid in which this hydrometer has been dipped. It is its glass, it is the air filled, and here is some weight like lead shots have been put so that it can be in the upright position inside the liquid. So it is usually made of glass we are using so that we can easily read the reading, and then it consists of cylindrical stem and a bulb weighted with mercury or lead shots to make it float upright. Okay, It should not be tilted inside the liquid whose specific gravity is to be measured, and it should be placed totally upright, so it is weighted with some lead shots at the bottom. Then the liquid to be tested is emptied into a tall container, often a graduated cylinder. Suppose whatever volume or whatever liquid whose specific gravity you wish to measure, like petrol you wish to measure, or you wish to measure the specific gravity of the milk in order to check the purity. In that case, what we are doing, we are taking that liquid into a graduated cylinder. Then hydrometer is gently lowered into the liquid until it floats freely. So that hydrometer is gently lowered into the liquid until it floats, and the point at which the surface of the liquid touches the stem of hydrometer is noted, and that point has been noted, and that point will give you the reading of the specific gravity. Like in this, so this is the container. Suppose a liquid whose specific gravity we wish to check or we wish to measure, this is put inside this container, and we know the volume of this liquid which is inside the container. Now it has been put it. Now at the time when it completely in the equilibrium inside this liquid, we measure the value of, or we read the value of this specific gravity. Then we check this value of specific gravity with the standard value. Okay, so this type of hydrometer is used, like a name of hydrometer like lactometer has been used in order to check the purity of the milk. The specific gravity of the pure milk is being known, and this hydrometer or lactometer is used to check whether the milk which has been distributed or milk which has inside the packet is having the specific gravity which is standard one. So that lactometer has been placed, and when that lactometer is stabilized, the reading of specific gravity has been measured and has been checked with the standard value. If it is lower than the standard value, that means that milk has been adulterated, maybe with some sort of more amount of water. So this is the use of hydrometer. Next, flotation of iron ship. So it has been very fascinating that we already knew that if you put a small iron nail on the surface of the water, it immediately sinks. But what about the big ships which are floating on the surface? In that case, what we know that the ships are also made of iron, but they have hollow and empty space inside. This space is filled with the air. So at the bottom of the ship, the hollow and empty space is there, and that space is filled with the air. Because of this, the average density of ship becomes less than the water, and due to which the ship is able to float. The ship begins to submerge more as it sails from sea water to river water. As we already knew, the density of sea water is much more the density of the river water, owing to the fact that the sea water contains more amount of the salt than the river water. That is why whenever the ship submerged into the river water, it has been submerged more as compared to the sea water. As usually in the sea water, it is almost on the surface of the sea water. According to the principle of flotation, to balance the weight of the ship, greater volume of water is needed to be displaced from the river water, which has the lower density. So what is the reason that in case of the river water, this ship is submerged more? Because to balance the weight of the ship, or for balancing the weight of the ship, the greater amount of water is needed to be displaced. That is why it's submerged more inside the river water. So you can see in this figure, this ship is almost on the surface of the sea water, but if it moves into the surface of the river water, its submerged have been more. Second is flotation of submarines. So you must be knowing that submarine usually move inside the water, inside the river or inside the sea. So the reason why it is inside the sea is that the submarines are provided with several ballast tanks which enable them to dive into and rise up from the waters wherever desired. Okay, so whenever these ballast tanks which are provided at the bottom, they are filled with the water. In that case, the average density of the submarine increases, due to which it enable it to sink. And when it is required that submarine should flow on the surface of the liquid, in that case water is removed from the ballast tanks, and due to which the average density decreases and that float up, and that enabling it to float and rise up. Like this, you can see the submarine is moving inside the liquid due to the filling of the water in its ballast tank. Next is icebergs. So icebergs usually floats on the surface of the river. Why? Because the density of ice is less than the density of the water, due to which the majority of its portion submerged and only a little part is above the surface. Usually the density of ice is around 0.917 gram per centimeter cube, whereas density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube, which is more than the density of the ice. That is why the icebergs usually floats on the surface of the water, like this. So you can see major portion of the iceberg is inside the water, and very small portion of the iceberg is outside the water. Then next is rising of the balloons. So you must have seen the balloons which are flying in the air, big balloons. Why? Because they are filled with the gases like helium or hydrogen, which are less dense than the air. When they are filled in the balloon, the weight of the air displaced by the balloon increases, thus the balloon rises due to the upthrust of the air on it. But as we know that density of air decreases as we go up in the atmosphere, due to which the weight of the displaced air also decreases to some extent, and balloon does not rise up indefinitely. It stops rising and it moves at the same level, like this. Okay, so many balloons are flying. It is on the basis of principle of flotation. So this is your end of the chapter. Almost. Thank you.